Hi, I'm Vicky.
And I'm Lauren. Welcome to U-Haul and Unpack.
Don't forget to text your best friend back. Well, this is U-Haul and Unpack, and we are a couple that is going through the aftermath of an affair.
And all the things that got us there, because the affair itself wasn't the main event.
Super fun. So, my name is Vicky. I am a lesbian. I came out around 16 years old.
My name's Lauren. I'm 31. I'm bisexual, and I came out as gay at age 24.
We got married right after COVID. So we had all of that indoor time, like how most couples either came together or separated during that time. We came together playing indoor beer pong.
And got super codependent.
Yes. And got more animals.
Which we thought was like okay.
Because our therapist told us so.
It was okay, and it was not. Ended up being not okay at all. So with that being said, therapists, right? So U-Haul and Unpack is going to be all about where queer hearts and messy relationships meet their match. And we're going to be spilling the tea, tools, sharing real life stories and real life solutions for navigating all kinds of relationships. Yes, including the one with your mom. So we want this to be like a deep convo with your best friend or even that stranger in the bar bathroom that you didn't know you needed. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Love those. Usually they're Lindsay or Brittany and they're way too drunk, but like you support them.
Exactly. So, loving others is real, but loving yourself is revolutionary. So that's what we're going to get into here. So speaking of therapy,
let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that because that's part of the reason we are still here and together. But also realizing that since we've had therapists for 8 years prior to this, that not all therapists are created the same. And we want to make sure that you have the information that we have that we would have loved to have 8 years ago.
Yeah. So the main thing that there's a lot of main things, but one of the bigger things that we took away from that we kept hearing from our couples therapist was the first relationship that matters is the relationship that you have with yourself. Now, usually when you hear stuff like that, you think of like, all right, I'm in kindergarten, this blue crayon means shit to me. But let's get real about that. Like, how many people can say that they truly love themselves without getting angry about responding to, do you love yourself? So when we first went into couples therapy, to save the names and faces, we're going to use fictional names for this purpose until they feel comfortable, if they feel comfortable letting us do that. So Jessica, our couples therapist.
Who is definitely not a Jessica.
Who's definitely not a Jessica or a Sagittarius. She would ask us these questions of, do you love yourself and do you care about the things that you care about? And our first reaction was getting defensive as if it was something that we needed to block. So when Jessica first asked Lauren, do you love yourself?
I got pissed. I was like, yeah, of course I love myself. I worked really hard on it. And like in her head, I'm sure, because now I know a little bit more about this, was like, I'm sure she was like, okay, well, clearly not. Because if I did love myself, why wouldn't I have just said, yeah, of course, like I love myself and this is how I feel about loving myself and blah, blah, blah. But instead I got like mad and defensive. And it's like one of the first things we were taught was that confusion equates to anger. And when I first heard that line, I got angry. Because I didn't get it. I was like, okay, and clearly I was confused, right? So I was like, okay, I love myself and confusion equates to anger. Like, I don't get it. And even no matter how much she would explain it, for a long time, I wasn't understanding the baseline of that, which basically just means that if you're angry about something, it's not as simple as you being angry about it. Something about it confuses you. So, for example, like if you had a best friend that stabbed you in the back, you're mad that they stabbed you in the back, right? But why are you really mad? Because you're confused of why they stabbed you in the back. Why did they do this to me? I never saw this coming, blah, 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 right? So it goes a step further than that. Instead of leaving it, which most of us do, at that line of like, I'm angry because they did this to me and I never saw this coming, I never expected this of them. You go that extra step to be like, okay, well, why do I think from my ability to be in their brain, which is, fully possible, but from my understanding, from what I know about this person, why do I think they did that?
This also doesn't take away you being valid in being angry about that.
Thank you for saying that.
Which is also something that was hard to learn, because there were plenty of things that I was mad at Lauren for. There were plenty of things that I'm mad at a lot of people for, especially not using turn signals. But there are plenty of things to like be mad about. But the reason, like, and being mad is valid. You're allowed to be mad, but it's how you are mad and what you do with that expression that allows it to be, if that makes sense at all. So saying that this anger is because of confusion, so use that energy of anger and be like, okay, but why am I so angry about this? Like, at first I was super angry, and I'm going to use the affair as a great example. Why was I so angry at Lauren for not hearing me when I needed to be heard? Why was I so angry for not feeling respected when I felt that I needed to be respected? Why was I so angry at Lauren for these things? And when I really broke it down to the confusing aspect, it was because I wasn't loving myself. I wasn't hearing myself. I wasn't respecting myself. So now to project these feelings onto Lauren to make sure that she's supposed to be doing this, and now having not only expectations of her responding positively to my anger, but also having the expectations that she's going to hear it the same way as if I would hear it, that brings on to that confusion level of she's not me. She's not going to hear it the same way. Not to mention she can't respect herself because she doesn't know herself either. And now also just being angry on top of it, it breaks down this iceberg into so many different layers that you need to figure out for you to grow. So being angry and being valid in that anger is absolutely, if anything, like pro anger and pro valid feelings.
Yeah, this isn't to take away, like, I'm glad you said that. It's not to take away your feelings of anger at all. You're entitled to your feelings. It's just like how you go about processing them and carrying them out, right? Because essentially, if your whole life ends up being compiled on a bunch of things that you're angry about, but you never understand them thoroughly, your threshold for anger is going to be a lot quicker. So instead of it taking like 6 bad things to happen to you in a day for you to kind of be like, all right, this is like, I've had enough. Like, it's going to be like the first thing that goes wrong, and you're going to go from 0 to 100. So with that being said, like,
So breaking that down even further, like, so there's like that anger, you know what I mean? Confusion equates to anger and stuff like that. But that's exactly it. So like what this whole confusion equates to anger is really about is really what about that particular thing, whatever it was, is getting to you. And that's what finding out who you are and loving you who for those reasons is about. So it's like, if Lauren's not respecting me, what about me am I not respecting me for? You know what I mean? Like, what about myself am I incapable of respecting, and how can I love myself? And which also goes into like forgiving yourself too, right? Like what about loving myself and forgiving myself for the past, and those things is going to allow me to love and forgive myself moving forward, to love and forgive the people around me. Because once you start with that energy of loving yourself first and caring for you first, it affects every single relationship around you like a stone in a pond. And you see that ripple effect almost immediately once you start exercising these things.
Yeah, and to just go with that also, because Vicky just said that when you start to love and forgive yourself, you love and forgive others. I want to preface that forgiving other people doesn't mean allowing them a high level of access to you or your energy.
I'm so glad you said that.
So, yeah, but then I also want to, like, before we go into that, like, Branch, I want to backtrack a little onto, like, what you just said about how you would communicate to me and how, like, you were angry with me, and, like, same. But, like, when you said that I was angry for Lauren for these things, for not hearing me, for not understanding me, and, like, I was communicating this to her, and it's like, and I was communicating in a way I would hear it. That's such a specific thing that I feel like it's glossed over. And not only like romantic relationships, but interpersonal relationships also.
Definitely.
Would be that you're communicating to someone in a way that you would receive something the way that you would hear it, because that's what you know to do. And you assume the other person's going to pick it up and receive it the same way that you're explaining it. So when Vicky's sitting here explaining something to me, like, I'm hurt because of X, it sounds like it should be pretty black and white, right? But the way she's delivering it may be confusing to me. And why is it confusing to me? She's not delivering it the way I'll receive it. And she doesn't have the foundation within herself to even know what she's talking about to an extent. So how can she elaborate on that if she doesn't have that foundation within herself? So,
but like right there and then, like, that's exactly it. Like, I don't have this elaboration on myself. I don't have the finer details. Like, this is not a compendious
a Jessica word.
This is not a compendious thing that is, you know, your guidebook, right? Like, you don't get this when you're born. You're not like, oh, okay, I'm going to react like this. Mm-hmm. What you do is you talk to people as if they are you. You talk to people and communicate with people as if they are going to understand, as if they are going to comprehend. And that's another word, right? Like, comprehension versus, like, understanding are two very different things. It's like listening and hearing, right? Yeah. And, like, how many times have you fully, like, previous to the affair, previous to us meeting Jessica, previous to us changing therapists, how many times did you, like, fully, like, comprehend the things I was saying? Because we obviously have very different ways of communicating and very different love languages. We have very different needs in this life.
And we both thought they were, like, the same. We thought there was, like, so much in common here, and there is commonalities, but, like, the differences are so much bigger than we thought, and
that we didn't give credit to.
And to answer your question, I barely understood what you were saying. You would say things like, it's not all about you, and I need XYZ from you, and it sounds like it should be cut and dry, but, like, for example, when you would say, like, it's not all about you, I would also get defensive because I didn't get it. Like, I didn't get your perspective of what was happening. Now I do. Thanks, Jessica. But for you to say certain things, it's like, it sounds very cut and dry to you.
Right.
And to me, it did as well, but I wasn't understanding the comprehension level of that from your perspective. It wasn't broken down further. So every time you would say that, I would get pissed that you were saying it, and you would get pissed that I would keep doing it.
Right.
And add that into a bunch of other layers of things going on with you to me and me to you.
Right.
And no wonder we ended up where we are.
But that's the thing. So now that we're at this point, we're about 12 minutes in. So I think that it's fair, and we will get into this into another episode, when we say that we are surviving and going through the backlash of an affair.
And all the things that got us
there. Let's start with what happened was I had an emotional affair with a woman that we thought, first of all, your friends you don't know are not your friends until you go through something serious. What we thought our friend group was not our friend group. And I had an emotional affair with a woman that was a part of our friend group. And it was behind Lauren's back. And this was also during a period of time where we were building a house together. And
do not recommend. 10 out of 10 don't recommend.
10 out of 10 do not recommend. 2 thumbs down. So what was going on was I was sneaking around to meet this person, you know, outside of the house, at the gym, at a bar, at lunch. And, you know, in my perspective, in my, you know, poor therapy, in my poor, like, guide of life.
Relationship with yourself.
Yeah, relationship with myself, really. Like, I was looking for validation outside of my marriage because, one, I wasn't receiving it in my marriage, and that had nothing to do with Lauren. That had everything to do with how I felt about me. 2,
and how I felt about myself.
And how Lauren felt about herself. 2, I was looking for that ego boost to make sure that I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing and feeling wanted. And 3, like, I do have an addictive personality, so it was a dopamine hit for me. Selfishly, because that's what an affair is. It's selfish.
Oh, yeah.
Always. And so that is, like, the real fact behind it. This was all during December of 24 through January of 25. And how it fully came out was a friend, what we thought was a friend, and the woman sent Lauren a message with video proof that I did what I did.
That you went to her house.
That I went to her house in a fit. And whatever the purpose was, first of all, never go to another person's house unannounced. That is a crazy thing to do. That is scary for the other person. That is almost threatening in a way. And it's just not a good look for anybody. So
don't do that.
Don't do that. But that is the truth of what happened. And so when we speak about the affair, that is, and we will go into more details in further episodes, but for this episode to get to know us, that is what had happened. And we are grateful to have met Jessica. We are grateful to have transitioned into different therapists because we had outgrown our old ones,
By years.
which is a thing that happens that I don't think anybody gives enough credit to.
Or talks about.
Right. Because we feel like, oh, I go to therapy, I'm better than you. Like, girlfriend, no, you're not. So that's what happened with the affair. So moving forward, when we talk about these topics, like, these are hard topics, and these are things that a lot of tears, a lot of sweat, a lot of energy, a lot of time went into these topics. So go ahead.
So thanks for being here with us.
Oh my gosh.
So
I'll be your drunk best friend, even though I'm sober.
Yeah, I was like, you're sober now, girl. I don't know what you're talking about. But with that being emotionally drunk, I guess.
I'll be emotionally drunk for you.
So with meeting Jessica, with going through this whole process, 10 out of 10 would not recommend how we got here.
Yeah, I should have gone to Lauren a lot earlier in my issues of falling out of love with her, and I should have gone to her a lot sooner with saying, I'm having these issues. I was truly embarrassed that we were 3 years into our marriage and I was already saying, I need a couples therapist. I was embarrassed, and that was my own insecurity. That was my own shit that I needed to own. Yeah, right. But what I'm saying, and I agree, like, I was the one who was like, who cares if we need couples therapy? We know couples who had been in couples therapy their entire relationship. Like, what's it matter? But again, like, we both have our own levels of shit to work through. But what I'm getting at is, like, meeting Jessica, going through this process. Like, again, 10 out of 10 wouldn't recommend how we got here, but I can appreciate not only where Vicky's at more now, where I'm at more now, where our relationship is at more now, that I think we ever would have if we never met Jessica. I've known couples who've been in couples therapy their entire relationship. But with that being said, if this didn't I have no proof that if this didn't happen in the order of events that it happened, that we would have ever met Jessica. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to get to not only know my partner better, but myself, and for my partner to get to know herself better. So again, 10 out of 10 would not recommend the way we got here, but I'm really grateful for where we're at now. And I also want to say, when we say the affair and all the things that got us here, obviously I think you've picked up on Vicky's the affair and all the things that got us here. And right, we didn't get here because I'm wife of the year, and I'm not negating that. I'm not negating Vicky's accountability or responsibility for stepping out. These are all things we've worked through in our couples therapy sessions. But with her saying, like, I wasn't communicating to Lauren, okay, I wasn't communicating to her either. And I hadn't really realized until we had gone through this that I had been living for everyone else and their needs and desires, to the point where I didn't and still don't really know who I was. So it's given me the opportunity to reflect on not only who I am going to be, but who I want to be, and how that is so much different than the person I am now. Our circle has gotten so small.
So small.
And, like, when I think about all the things, like, before we got married, before, like, I even knew you, and I think about, like, all the people I was hanging out with and all the things that I was doing, and, like, I don't talk to any of those people now. Yeah. And, like, it's a line of, like, trust. It's a line of finding myself through this process, and I feel like I didn't have any fucking idea who I was. And, like, I knew that I loved you. I knew that I loved the person that was in front of me, but, like, I didn't like anybody, like, where I was working, which do not recommend local government. I didn't know what I believed in. I didn't know what I trusted. I knew that day to day I was bip-bopping along like the rising Libra that I am. And I was like, life is great. And, like, no, Vicky, like, what is driving you behind the things that you do? What is your passion? What are you feeling? What are you going through right now? And, like, I never even wanted to know myself at that core, because I didn't want to see myself. Like, it was terrifying to see that ugly person that I was. And I'm not saying it was all ugly, but a lot of it was. And a lot of it was under the mat. And a lot of it was just, like, swept under the rug, and, like, never had a dustpan. You know what I mean?
No
like,
dustpan, no one to lift the rug. And with all that too, like you said, like, all these quote unquote friends you had.
I'm glad you, air quotations.
Yeah,
sure.
like, cause they're not around anymore, and for good reason. Like, when you say, like, I didn't know who I was, and these were the people I was surrounding myself with, and these people would pride us on our great communication, and then we end up in couples therapy, and Jessica's like, you guys don't know how to talk to each other. You don't know how to talk to yourselves. Like, it's like, wait a minute. Like, after we had some time to digest that, if that's how poorly we're doing with our communication and level of understanding, who are we around that they think that this is an optimal level of communication style? And it goes to show, like, you really are who you surround yourself with, and who you surround yourself with for the phases in your life can change. And if you are identifying with a new person that you want to be, a new person that you're going to be, and you're looking around and realizing that those people don't match, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. And even if you have no friends for a while, that still doesn't mean that you're the problem and there's something wrong with you. Wanting to grow is okay.
But it's easy to like take on that kind of blame. Like that's the hard part is that like when you sit here and like you lose friends like left and right, and like honestly we have been, but like honestly I'm not losing anything, and that is something that like I really need to stress the most is
you're
that
not losing anything.
You are not losing anything. If these are low quality people, they're doing you a favor by not being around you, because when you cut yourself down to lower your ability to grow to fit the low quality of another person, you really need to figure out what's going on. And in your gut and your heart of hearts, like you know what you're doing. You know you feel uncomfortable. Like you know that like weird nostalgic feeling that you have in your stomach when you're not doing the right thing, or that weird like vibe that's just a little bit off because you know what you're doing isn't your authentic self. Like that's this feeling that you need to outgrow. Like get that shell off, babe. Like we're not cicadas, we are butterflies. Ew. Get rid of that cocoon. Like
that's disgusting. Sorry, I just got like a visual.
I know, so did I. Well, it's the summer, I had to.
When you gross.
And it's Jersey, so they're everywhere.
So like that feeling you have when you go home and you're exhausted, or you notice you're being performative, like things like that. They might be such little things because they feel so normal to you, but they can be huge indicators that you're not in the right group of people.
I'm so glad that you said performative. Performative's a really good way to sum it up.
Yeah, and like I don't know about anyone else, and I'm sure there's other people out there, which is why we're having this intro episode of people who, you know, they don't like your Instagram stuff. They're not supportive of this business
which
you started.
We've all had.
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry,
like we're not. Shut up, we're not there yet. They're not supportive of this business you had, this relationship that you're in, this new promotion that you got, that you're starting to go down a fitness route where you want to improve your health, and all of a sudden they get quiet.
That's not your friend.
That's a red flag. Yeah, that's not your friend, babe. That's a red flag. Because if they're not supporting you in public, they're criticizing you in private. When you're trying to do better for yourself, the last thing that you need is that extra criticism or that extra layer trying to hold you back, because this shit's hard when you're trying to do better to begin with. The last thing you need is friends or family, because we'll get into family too, that make you feel like your efforts to do better means there's something wrong with you. And that's because they probably know subconsciously that they could be doing better, and you making those moves makes them insecure. And you do not want to be in the room where you're the person doing the most. You're in the wrong fucking room.
Yeah.
So,
and if you look around and you see those people and you realize, and that was something that we caught with our, I want to say quote unquote old group of friends, like we noticed that we were the best people in the room, and we took pride in that. And that's not a good feeling to have.
I don't want to say best. Best isn't the right word.
That's
because I never feel like anyone's better than anyone else.
Thank you for saying that. No, you're right. You're right. That's a great way to say that.
We're all gonna die the same way. Like we're all. I'm a Scorpio sun, so bear with my morbidity. But more so that, like I said, like kind of like that we were doing the most, right? Because these people were like, hey, and for an example, I guess this is a good way to say it, is like, what are we doing this weekend? What are we doing tonight? What are we doing soon? I have this idea, like we should go skating. And I'm not saying it's not good to have plans. That's not what I'm saying.
Have plans.
But it was like, like have plans. Like enjoy yourself, rest, recuperate.
It's life, man. Do you?
Yeah. But what I am saying is, if you're working towards something and you've communicated to people that, hey, just so you know, for this span of time or for these days or for this whatever, this is what I'm going to be doing. So please bear with me, because like this is important to me and I need your support. And they ignore that and continuously try to keep the same pattern of behavior that you were.
Clock that.
Clock that. Because when we said, hey, we're working on a house, Vicky's working 7 days a week and I'm working 5 and then going to the house the other 2. Why were you still texting me and us instead of saying, hey, I want you guys to know you're included, but we know you're busy. I just don't want you to feel like you're left out. Instead, it was, this is what we're doing this weekend. Yeah. Why can't you come? And they like weren't understanding. And it's like, I'm sorry. Have you ever built a house?
Have you ever worked 7 days a week nonstop for, I don't know, how many months was I doing that? 6?
Yeah. Have you ever built a foundation? Like, do you know what you're saying?
Very literally, have you ever built a foundation in yourself in a house?
In the dirt. In the dirt in August.
But you know what? We're not here to brag. We're not here to say anything. What we are saying is, when you find yourself in a group or with people that aren't naturally supportive of you and the things you're doing, you need to really look around. You need to remember that. You need to clock that. And you need to know either A, what's going on with this other person that they can't do this, or B, what's going on with me and I can't do this. And that needs to be a discussion, you know, with you yourself, and I. And like, there's no reason to be angry. There's no reason to be mad. But like, why are you so confused? You need to think about that.
And that's the whole thing. Like, going back to the confusion equates to anger, which is our main topic of this episode, is that when you're around yourself and you're misaligned with yourself, that's going to make you angry.
Do misaligned things.
You're going to do misaligned things. And being around misaligned people is one of the things you're going to do and attract. So if you're constantly asking yourself, why, when I tell them I'm busy or I'm working on X, Y, and Z, do they not respect that? Clock that question. Ask yourself further, why don't they respect that? Well, and I'm just going to go through, I don't know, internal people pleaser thoughts, because I know I'm not the only people pleaser listening to this.
Oh my God, we're all millennials. Right? We're all people pleasers.
Right? It's so gross. So it's like, okay, why don't they respect that? Well, they don't understand because they've never done it themselves. And that's fair. Cool. Fair, but okay, let me try communicating it to them again in a different way and like explain the level of importance it is to me and how it makes me feel when they XYZ. Okay, done. Still doing it again. Okay, why do they still not respect where I'm coming from? Well, does this person know how to respect themselves based on what I can observe from the life that they live, the way they carry their actions out, the way they treat others? Do they respect themselves? Overwhelmingly, you're going to be surprised how many times you start to feel like no. And you're going to want to say yes. That's the thing. Because you love these people and you care about them.
And you want to give them benefit of the doubt, which is a real, not just people pleaser thing. It's a real feeling.
And it's valid. But when it starts to become at your expense, giving them the benefit of the doubt, that's when you really need to like
step back.
Take a step back, take a breather. And if you are able, when you take that step back and you take that breather, even if you say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to contact this person for 2 weeks, or I'm going to let them know that like, whatever, that like if they text me, I'm not going to be able to answer them for this frame of time, so that you can have that buffer time. If you feel better in that buffer time, that is your answer.
Again, clock it.
And not uncomfortable, like, oh, it's uncomfortable because I'm used to this person. If you feel more relaxed,
authentically yourself.
Yeah, exactly. All those things. So it gets really confusing and you can get really angry around these
people that aren't on your level, to say the least. And like, that's something that, you know, it is.
Everyone's on their own journey. That's okay. It just doesn't mean they have to be on yours.
It is very cliche to say like, get on my level or get up to my level. It's very cliche, but you need to break down those words of like, what is your level and where are you at? Because like, you will find those people that are on your level. You will make space for people that can find you there. And when you're in a room full of people that are on your level, you feel your most authentic self, not leaving that room drained. You're leaving that room inspired and ready to create a new. And that's something that definitely goes overlooked, underlooked, however you want to say it, but that's something that isn't given enough attention. So again, when you leave feeling cleansed and ready to go versus confused and drained, which I'm sure I am certain I am not the only one who has walked away from either a friendship, a family member, a group of friends, or even just a group of strangers feeling drained. I'm not the only one. You have to really ask yourself, what did I do to contribute to this? And how am I going to make the next interaction, the next place, the next friend, the next opportunity better for me? Because at the end of the day, you do have to be selfish. And being selfish isn't a bad thing. Like, being selfish has been misunderstood as, well, you're going to get yourself a Christmas present because I got somebody else a Christmas present. No, girl, that's not what it's about. Being selfish is taking care of yourself, not just with face masks. It's being selfish with your energy because you've worked your entire life to get here. So why are you giving it away freely? Why are you giving it away without that second thought of, this person deserves it because they've been my friend for 30 years? It doesn't matter.
What about you?
What about you?
Do you deserve it?
Do you deserve it? Like, that is a real question about loving yourself. Do you deserve the behavior that people push onto you? And are they projecting? Like, are they pushing? Are they projecting? Are they making you feel this way? Because hidden manipulation and hidden gaslighting
is a lot more common than I had thought. Like, yes. I feel like we both were like, basically, people are good at heart, and I'm not saying that's not the case, but people's ulterior motives because they're unaware of themselves is common. A lot more common than we gave credit to, including ourselves, taking responsibility for that right there.
Oh yeah, I would manipulate you all the time.
Oh, same. Well, that's what I was just going to get into. Not that you would manipulate me, but that like, and with your partner, like your partner may be aligned with an older version of you or a version of you who is in a bad place or a million things. And I'm not saying you can't grow from that. But being aware that if you're around your partner and you feel drained, if you're around your partner and you feel confused, you're angry all the time.
Which we did.
Which we did, both of us. Like, you were angry all the time at me. I was angry all the time at you. I was confused about the way you would act, the way you would talk to me, the way your expectation. Like, I just wouldn't understand.
And even during that time where, like, going back to the affair, during that time when, like, you kicked me out of the house and I was staying in a hotel, you openly admitted to me that you felt more calm and more comfortable when I wasn't around you physically in this house. And I felt the same way in the hotel when I felt more calm and comfortable when I was away from you. But that goes to show that we were so wrapped up in this mud, in this really mucky behavior and this really mucky personalities of each other and ourselves, that we just couldn't be around this misaligned self anymore. And it was so bad. But think about that. People aren't just like that in romantic relationships. People are like that in friendships. Like, you've had an old friend that you had to break up with. I've had an old friend. And, like, think about who I was in that old friendship. Think about who you were in that old friendship.
Right.
And it's so... Who was I? I was acting like my 17-year-old self in high school, feeling less than ever, feeling so low on myself.
In your 20s and 30s.
In my late 20s and 30s, trying to accommodate this person's behavior. And same with you.
Same. Like, and we did it to each other. So, like, that's to go back to what we said about, like, do you deserve it? Do you deserve that level of your energy that you're giving to other people? Don't you deserve that? Why are you taking we'll say that you're a friend who reciprocates, right? You always think of the other person. You're the one who reaches out to make plans. You're the one who makes sure that they feel accommodated. You go to their house. You go to their house all the time, but they never come to yours. And again, maybe these are extreme.
My mom told me I can't sleep over tonight.
Maybe these are extreme examples, but, like, if you're the one doing that effort and you're not getting it back, don't you deserve that effort from yourself? Imagine how you would feel if you gave yourself the same amount of effort that you're dishing out for others. Why are you campaigning for these people? Campaigning. Why are you campaigning for people who wouldn't even look in your direction if you really needed them? And you'll be surprised that when you need people and you need them to show the kind of support and empathy and even just the kind of effort that you've put in when they are not doing well, you'll be really surprised to see who doesn't show up.
And this is the thing.
Do you want to wait until it happens to realize that? And when you're drained?
Like, asking somebody to understand is one thing, and I can appreciate people saying, I don't fully understand and I'm here to listen to you to the level I can comprehend. However, after that, I need you as a friend, because I love you, to seek further assistance. And we've had to write those text messages to friends. I can no longer be your friend anymore because you can't put your emotional awareness and you can't put your emotional stability at the forefront of your mind. So how can I ask you to worry about mine, find and seek help? And, like, obviously in nicer terms, you don't just, like, come at people. Like, that's crazy behavior. But that's crazy behavior. But, like,
it sounds rough.
It sounds rough, but, like, you obviously craft these messages in ways that your friends can understand. And how many people, we've sent this message maybe to 4 fucking people, and all of them came back with, fuck you. And it's like,
I knew you were going to answer like that.
Why are you mad, though?
I knew you were going to answer like that.
I knew you were going to say this. And, like, that, like, it doesn't hurt my feelings. Like, I have the help that I'm getting because I want the help that I need. But you to respond with, fuck you, I don't need anything. Like, you keep living in that mud. I'm going to build this house over here.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, that's the thing, though, like we said in the beginning, confusion equates to anger, and it all starts with you, right? So when you start to... So again, like, we weren't aligned with ourselves. We didn't know who each other were. So we were acting out in our relationship. Our friends were misaligned. It was a mess. It is still messy. Like, there's a lot to do here. We're just finally starting to see things through a different lens. And it's a very eye-opening. A lot of lenses, a lot of eye-opening experiences, it's a lot really of cicadas that were in the room.
A lot of cicadas. Oh my God, girl.
Just like, want a couple of butterflies.
It's like the end of summer, August, and you hear like that noise outside, and like you just step on that one crunch, and it's not a fall leaf, girlfriend. It is not a fall leaf.
It's a cicada.
It's a cicada show, and you are now upset because you don't know what just happened. That's a friend we crushed. That's a text message we...
So it does start with you. So if you don't know who you are, if you don't know your values, if you don't know your authentic self, if you don't know what you want to stand for, and it is okay if you don't.
It's common.
It's
so
common.
common.
Don't look around and expect those people to be there or help you or even make it to that next level as you're figuring those things out. It is okay and common for them to fall aside, and it does leave space for new people to come in. And I know that sounds cliche. I know some of you are listening and are like, okay, like it leaves more space. Like, but honestly speaking, like there's even friends or family members that as we've stepped away from these friends, other ones that are more aligned that I like haven't connected with in a while have come back out of the woodwork, and I'm like, oh wait, this makes sense. I haven't seen this person in a long time,
right?
And they're more aligned with who I want to be now and like what I'm going
it's
for.
So nice.
And even
that sense of reminder to know that like, you know, it's just that reminder that like, oh my God, there are people that are on my level that I just completely overlooked because I was so busy.
I was so wrapped up in
busy
toxicity.
Being lost. Yeah, I was so busy being lost. I was so busy wandering around like that woods. For all of my friends that have seen A Nightmare Before Christmas, when Jack is walking through the woods, that's what it feels like. Like there's no circle of trees with doors. No, bitch, you're walking through the woods. And like not Taylor Swift out of the woods yet. You're in those woods. And like
we don't all get to be Taylor Swift.
Yeah, we don't all get to be Taylor Swift, but like that's the thing is like we are not out of the woods yet, but you can always find yourself out of the woods with the help that you need, okay? And like that's a big part of what trying to say that like anger equates to confusion or confusion equates to anger. Like that's the bigger part is that like this whole confusion of woods, you can find your way out. You can, but you have to want to help you too.
But if you don't, you have to help you too, and you have to help you first. You cannot have, and I would be the first one to be like, okay, my ass, when I say you cannot have a healthy, successful relationship with anybody, your partner or anything, your partner, your friends, without you having the foundational knowledge of yourself and loving yourself first. Now, when Jessica used to say this to me, I used to get very angry. Like, I think I was angry about this for like at least a month, just with this one area, because I was like, I was pissed because I was like, you're going to tell me, like, because I didn't love myself. And at that point I had accepted it where I was like, fine, you win. Like, I don't love myself, like whatever. But I was like, you're going to tell me not everything of my life is taken care of. I go to work. My bills are paid. My bills are paid. My animals are taken care of. My friends feel like they are.
My parents still talk to me.
My parents still talk to me. They feel like they're getting what they need from me. My friends feel like they're getting what they need from me.
Stop right there.
Wait, no, that's what I was going to say. But that's the thing that I wasn't grabbing was that everyone's getting what they need from me. But what am I getting from me? And it was nothing. The answer was nothing. And that's when I finally came to that, like again, through Jessica, where I was like, oh my God, I don't have anything left for me. So how does it make sense that I'll have a healthy relationship with my wife? I have no energy. I have no anything to give. And now she wants me to show up as a partner with what? With what am I showing up with when I can't even show up for myself?
And that just goes on. That is
such a small snippet.
Right. And that doesn't just go for Lauren. Like that goes for me as well. Like I was giving everything to everybody. And in my head, I'm thinking working 7 days a week. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, I'm bringing home a paycheck so we can pay for this house. Okay, I'm bringing home sushi so she can have a nice meal. Okay, I'm doing, I'm talking to my in-laws every day, making sure that they're
happy with
that their emotional needs are met, because at the end of the day, I am living in their house, so I have to make sure that they're taken care of as well. Okay, my parents are okay. Everything's okay. Cats are fed, bunnies are fed, right? But at the end of the day, when you sit there in your bed and you say, everything is taken care of, but you're not even on that checklist, you really have to step back and say, what did I do for me today to make myself know that I am known to me, right? I'm seeing myself in a crowd. And if you can't give yourself that recognition, right? If you can't give yourself
that you should be on your priority list.
You should be number one on your priority list always. And like I hate that stupid fucking cliche saying, put your mask on first. But at the end of the day, put your mask on first. How are you going to help anybody? How are you going to do anything for anybody? I, again, worked in local government for years doing something I hated. I hated it. Because I had a terrible relationship with myself, I accepted it because they kept giving me more money. It doesn't matter, because I came home and I started running half marathons hoping I would get hurt one day so I can go on disability and never have to go back to work again. That right there, I never put those pieces together, that was one, self-harm, and two, the relationship I had with myself. That is something to step back from and that I didn't give recognition to.
Mm-hmm. I know. I'm glad you came to that when you did and that you told me that. And like you said about like being the first on that priority list, I know as we are saying this, you're like, okay, I've heard this a million times before. And I want to take a second to recognize that, right? Like, and what I want to shine a light on to make this a bit of, to break this down a little bit further is that, yes, you've heard this before. But what I want to say is, have you like heard it before?
Yeah.
You know, like you've listened to a million podcasts, you've heard this same kind of, but has it really sat with you? Have you really digested it? Because the point of like, yes, love yourself first. I know there's eye rolls. I know it. I know you're like, oh my God, I've heard this a million times, but do you actually put yourself on your list of priorities? And if you are sitting here saying no, but X, Y, and Z is taken care of, at some point it's going to crack. And if it doesn't, it always does. And if it doesn't, you're never going to know you, and you're never going to get that fulfillment. That fulfillment, that love, affection, that care that you give to everybody else, because you are too busy giving it away. And at the end of the day, even if it doesn't crack, you're still going to be the one exhausted, confused, angry. Why does everything always feel so overwhelming and hard is a big one that came to me throughout my entire life, where I felt like a lot of other people had it easier because they didn't give a fucking shit about me. All they cared about was meeting their needs. You get to do that too.
They cared about taking from you rather than giving to themselves.
Right. And that means you too, though.
But that means you too. And that's the thing, is that if you're surrounding yourself with people, and this includes family, let's not give titles grace at this point. Mm-hmm. Let's not give, I've known this, again, let's go back. I've given this person, I've known this person for 30 years. It doesn't mean anything if they're still taking. So if you are sitting here and you're saying at the end of the day, like, I'm still not fulfilled, ask yourself those questions as to why.
Yes, that's the thing. It's more introspective. That's what we're asking you to do. It's more introspective, because I personally need a level of comprehension for things to click. So when I would hear things like love yourself, it would piss me off, because again, confusion equates to anger. Why? Because I didn't love myself. But the questions,
but comprehension and understanding.
So what we're asking of you is that as you're hearing this and you're possibly getting mad about, like, I've heard this before, why is it making you angry? Why is what we're saying making you uncomfortable?
Why are you upset, girl?
Why? And not in a bad way, but like really think about it. Like,
yeah, I'm not coming at you.
Is it because you know deep down that you don't do those things for yourself, and you were hoping we would give you different advice as to another action item that you can do tangibly?
Right.
And if that's the case, like, again, that's the person I am. I need tangible, but like the level of comprehension.
But I'm not.
I know.
Right. That's the thing. Like, I can like talk to Jessica all day, and like I can hear these things and I can use them applicably. Yeah. Applicably. I can use them applicably where, like, you do need a tangible item and you need a checklist. Like, where I can talk to Jessica and I can be like, okay, this is how I can do it. And, like, you see me even now. And, like, these are things that you work on. Like, let's get that out. This is all individual. This is not an overnight process. Like, there are still times that Lauren and I get into confrontations, let's say it that way. We get into confrontations where I literally have to stop, stare at her where she thinks I've gone completely brain dead. And she says, are you still in there? And I have to say, I'm literally switching lenses so I can see it and come at it with empathy, so I know what you're trying to tell me. Or I have to say, please tell me what's going on in your head, because I don't know what you're actually trying to say right now. And this is the level of understanding and comprehension that works both ways, because tangible is an item list. It's a checklist, right? Or there is the comprehension where it's like, I just need to do it in my brain where I can see through your lens, because I want to understand and not take from you, but I want to love you the way that you need, because I want to love me the way that I need to.
Exactly. And everyone, this is not a one size fits all.
So
as we're saying, like, love yourself, we're not expecting you to be like, okay, haha, never thought of that before.
Yeah,
like,
don't max out your credit card and get like facials every day. Do not do that.
Not the capitalistic way. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm sure, again, I know you've heard this before. It's more about like the way it's applied is individual per person. So like, I need a level of comprehension. I need to ask myself questions. Why is this feeling coming up? Where do I think it's coming from? Why is there anger? How long have I been feeling this way? And just like kind of going through the list to be like, okay, or if you're angry at somebody, including yourself, what am I angry about? And again, like we said in the beginning, this person did something to me. I'm always exhausted, whatever it is. Okay. Why do we think that's the case? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm always exhausted because I get everything done, and at the end of the day, I have nothing left for myself. Why don't you have anything left for yourself?
And quick time out. So when we go through these things too, is that like, why aren't you doing this for you? Why aren't you doing this for you? X, Y, and Z. Please take in mind, there is accountability for forgiveness too. You're allowed to forgive yourself for these things.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what? At the end of the day,
you didn't know
like,
any better.
You didn't know any better. How can you like be mad at yourself for not knowing anything? I'm sorry. There were plenty of things that I was yelling at Lauren. Why can't you do this? And in my head, I'm sitting here thinking, why isn't she not getting what I'm saying?
Because you were giving me a wrench and all I had in my toolbox was nails and a fucking hammer.
But that's the thing. Like, all you have is nails and a hammer. So I'm sitting here, how do you not fucking understand what I'm fucking saying right now? And I'm getting angry. But at the same time, like, how can I get angry at a person that doesn't get it? Like, how can I expect you to fucking do that?
Right.
So and, like, that's where this forgiveness comes in. And, you know, what we're saying is if you only have a hammer to fix your car, forgive yourself. Because forgiveness is so flexible. I'm sorry. Forgiveness is the most flexible thing. Forgiveness isn't always like, I forgive myself and it has to be this big, moany, groany kind of thing. It can just say, I didn't know any better at the time, but I know better now and I was lost then. So you know what? All we can do is get better and grow from that position and make different choices.
Yeah, and just recognize, like, instead of beating yourself up, because I know we're not the only ones that do that, where it's like, oh, I could have done this better.
Yeah, don't do that.
I could have done that better. Why didn't I know better then? It's not
okay,
like...
cool, you said it. Do you feel better?
It's not like that, though. It's like, I didn't have the tools at the time. I didn't have the knowledge. All I had was what I knew and what I was taught and what I knew to be true. And you can't blame yourself for being guided in the wrong direction and taking that guidance as guidance. Like, that's not your fault. But when you recognize finally that, like, this isn't working for me anymore and something needs to change and you start getting more information, more tools, more whatever, you can look back on that version of yourself and be like, they didn't know any better and that's okay. But we're going to do better moving forward because now we have the information. It doesn't have to be, like you said, like this big moany, groany thing. And that goes along with other people as well. So again, confusion equating to anger. When you have that lens of forgiveness for yourself, you're a little bit less angry. And again, this can be like by situation, but like hopefully the goal would be as a whole.
Right. And but by situation is much easier to take it almost as building blocks. That way you can kind of like really wrap your mind around the complexities of it all.
Yeah. At the point, you definitely want to get to that point where you can forgive yourself as a whole and then being able to walk through situations like understanding that better so you have less confusion. Yeah. And again, you're going to be angry. You just want the ability to be able to break it down so you're not carrying that with you. And that goes with friends and family too. Forgiving them because they made you angry doesn't necessarily mean allowing them a level of access. So if they made you angry because they backstabbed you, right, or something, you can be like, why am I angry about this? Well, because they backstabbed me, and I know we talked about this in the beginning, so I'm going to full circle it. And I just don't understand how they could do that to me. Do you not, though? Because do they respect themselves? And if you're like, well, of course they do. And it's like, do they though? And like, in what way do they respect themselves?
Give me 3 good reasons.
Right? Like of how, I mean? And again, if you're like, okay, well, like, I know at least they do this one thing and they do self-care. Or like, this was my big one with a lot of my friends. They go to therapy. So they try. Yeah. And it's like, and so did I for 8 years, but it doesn't mean like
because
I was getting the right
misaligned with your therapist.
Right. It doesn't mean I was getting the right information. So how can I expect them to give me what I need when they're stuck not giving themselves what they need? And again, just as a more personal example, like going through, if like I had a friend, for example, who had a really, really bad upbringing. She had no example of what a healthy relationship dynamic was. All she knew was that she had to do things for her comfort to survive. So when she stabbed me in the back after I was like pissed, because I was pissed, after I sat on it and was like, okay, why am I angry? And it's like, because she did this to me. And then I was like, why are we surprised that she did this to you?
Right.
She doesn't know anything about having a healthy relationship.
Anything.
Her family never displayed it to her. Her friends never displayed it to her. So when you displayed it to her and she didn't know what to do with it, why are you surprised?
But not just that, but
it was like, scary.
And the way to say it is that like when you're in quicksand, you're not going to look for the friendliest, happiest person. You're not going to look for the sturdiest branch. You're not going to look for the sturdiest way to get out, the safest way to get out. You're going to look for anything. So when you find these people, which we all have, you're not really like finding them, you're like amongst them. Yeah. But like
they find you.
But like that's the thing is that like these people are looking for anything to get out of quicksand. So any hand that gets put down, any hand that is put out to get them out of that quicksand, they're going to grab onto. So this backstabbing, It's not uncommon. It's like not outlandish, and there's no.
It's not even surprising.
It's not surprising. You want to be surprised, and that's what's more surprising to you. Mm-hmm. That's what's more damaging to you. That's what's more disappointing to you. You're more disappointed in this person because you want to be surprised by their actions, but at the end of the day, you're like, I saw this coming from a million miles away. I just didn't want to accept it because I thought better of this person. You just tricked your mind into believing it. But if you can trick your mind into believing that, think of the exact opposite of where you can go with that positivity versus that negativity. Mm-hmm. This is an inspirational speak. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
This is coming from my half glass full optimistic little Libra rising, but
I'm a quality person.
With that being said too, like when you're forgiving this person for their actions, and understanding where they're coming from so that you're not angry and so that you can forgive them, that does not mean letting them do it again.
Right.
That does not mean like, okay, well, I get why they did it, so that means they should still get that same level of energy I was giving them before. No, it doesn't. Mm-hmm. The forgiveness is about you. It's not about them. It's so that you can survive another day in a calmer headspace and a more like a more like grounded foundation so you can move forward in your other relationships, including with yourself, healthier. It's not so that you can open the door back up for them, mm-hmm. for them to do it again and again, because because now we just went through it. Now you know that they don't know any better.
It's so that when you see them at like a holiday party or something like that, you're not walking to the room and you're like, oh no, they're here, and you try and avoid them the entire time. It's so that you can walk into the room, not even acknowledge their existence and say, oh, you were there, and know that you mean it instead of just saying, oh, you were there, mm-hmm. trying to cover up your tracks. It's so you can walk in with that confidence, knowing I am everything that I need, and I don't need this extra BS to get through my holiday party. I don't need to get drunk. I don't need to be here to enjoy myself, to not enjoy myself. I don't need to talk shit afterwards. I can just be here and enjoy myself while they exist on the other side of the room. And that's the thing, is that we want to prove to you that
applies more to family. With friends, you can be like, I don't need to go to this at all.
Right. You don't even need to talk to you never need to talk to them. But if you ever, if you know what I mean, like you can exist in this world and not have the insecurity of requiring their attention to move forward.
And when you confront somebody, like we mentioned in the beginning, so again, bring this full circle, when they get defensive, that's when you can understand, like, okay, when I used to be asked questions like this, I would get defensive. So what do I think's going on here? So again, mm-hmm. Jessica being like, do you love you? Can I ask you? And she said it very calmly. Do you love yourself? And I was like,
she came respectfully.
She said it calmly and yeah, she always said I come respectfully. But like, I used to think that was such an insult because every time Vicky would say I come respectfully, it meant fuck you.
It meant go fuck yourself.
So when Jessica would do it, I was like, why are you always telling me to go fuck myself? So she wasn't.
Sorry, that was a trained behavior.
Yeah, I'm
not even learned. That was trained.
I'm not surprised. So when she would say, "I come respectfully and calmly," do you love yourself, Lauren? And I was like, "Yeah." What do you mean? Like, and it's
like, why aren't you wearing sleeves?
Yeah, it's like, girl, it's like at the time, I didn't know, but I'm sure now that I see it a different way, she was probably like, "Okay, well, the answer is no." Yeah. Like clearly,
get off the steroids.
And yeah, right. But like, so when you ask people, "Hey, I can't expect you," and again, you don't have to come at it this way. This is like a very like spearhead example, but if you're having this experience with someone and you're like, hey, I recognize that you don't put yourself first and your mental health first, so I can't expect you to show up the way for me that I require, and they get mad. Why are they mad? Mm-hmm. Are they mad because they know they don't put themselves first? Are they mad because you found out? Are they mad because
there's a million
none
things.
of it? And again, like you can dissect that in a way that you can forgive so that you feel better.
Right.
But run.
Yeah. Like again, like clock that. Like there are so many red flags. Like trust your gut. And this is coming from like a Scorpio and a Cancer. So I totally believe in astrology and the fact that that's real. So don't start fights with me on that. But what I'm saying is gut feelings are real. Gut feelings are real. Trust it, clock it, understand it, digest it, and work with it.
Yeah. And the more that we've eliminated these people, the more our intuition has grown, and the quicker we've been able to make decisions based on that, and the better our life has gotten.
The better our marriage has been.
Oh, yeah. And I can't wait to see what happens.
Because we
like
were able
a year
to
from now.
Well, we created this passion project because of that. And like, I'm so grateful, and like, I'm just so grateful for that.
I know, me too. Also, with the defensive piece, just to wrap up here, is that when someone gets defensive, okay, clock it. But when you get defensive, clock it too. Because again, like I know I give the example of me doing it, but like this applies to everybody. When you get defensive, clock it. Why did I just get defensive?
Right.
What about that triggered me? What about that made me upset, and why? And it might take you like a few more questions to get to the bottom of that. Which is okay. But like building that level of comprehension is what we're trying to say to hopefully make this different than every other love yourself talk that you've heard.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't know the questions to ask. So, and I know why is a simple one. We can get into like more.
And we will. In our next episodes, we will absolutely dig into those questions to ask to get to those core points. Because like you said, like comprehension ultimately means finding the root. So there's a lot of root here. There are going to be a lot of roots here. And finding those questions to ask those questions and not feel silly, stupid, unwanted, unloved by asking those questions. Let's dig. You know what I mean? Let's dig and find those roots.
Right. So for example, like my root was, and we're going to pick this up on the next episode, but my root was insecurity. But if you told me 6 months ago I was insecure, I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm a blonde with Botox. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. That's where it went to that. That's the depth it got to in my head. I was like, I bleach my hair and I have Botox and I work out 5 days a week. How can I possibly be insecure?
Easy.
Plot twist. My entire life was riddled with it and is affected by it. So that is where we will pick up next time and get you some more insight on U-Haul and Unpack.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to text your best friend back.